What up? This is Jay Dragon, and I'd like to welcome you to the Dragon Den. Today we're taking these old, busted up, wore out Air Force Ones and revitalizing them. What we're going to do is we're going to put Alabama on them, pick which areas I want to paint, and figure out where I want to put them at. And right now in the process, I'm just going to sit right there and I'm getting ready to clean it up. I've got my water right there to the side. I got my buffing brush. I'm using OxiClean stain remover or whatever it's got on it. I'm going to use that to help get rid of all the dirt that I can out of it. It does take a while. It works good. I'm not saying it's the best, but it would be something to use when you're starting out because it's pretty cheap. I mean, you can get a big bottle for $5, go over it and just sit right there and get it. It works really well. It helps get out the stains. Use it before you put it in. Use it to scrub the stuff and use it to get rid of the stains. Just treat the stains and it'll get rid of it. It does a pretty good job on shoes. I used it on these Air Forces. They work really good. And this brush, it helps get out the grime a little bit more, so when you go down into it, it just helps, it just made the shoe just look a lot better from the inside, and it had a lot of problems with it. Right now at this point, my shoe tree wasn't big enough to help push out the creases, so what I did was I took some bags and put in the head of it and tightened it up so that the creases would not be sitting right there. As you can see, I'm pushing down on it and making sure the stuff is flexed in. So what we're doing is making sure we got some of the bag stuff down there so it'll help get rid of the creases just a little bit more. So right now we are sitting right there trying to spray some extra stain remover, OxiClean, whichever. We're putting it on there, we're scrubbing it down, and we're going to use the battery powered brush. Use it and go at it too, but this stuff has got so much grime on it, it took like 2 to 3 different times of doing this, and it took a while. So basically right now I'm getting ready to put them in the bag, put them in the wash machine, and get it straightened out. So after this point, I already cleaned up the shoestrings and everything, but later on I sit right there and dyed them black because the white shoestrings wouldn't have popped as much on the shoes as it did when I dyed them black. It looks really good with the black shoestrings. It makes it pop a little bit more and gives it a good reference. I guess I'm just getting everything situated and putting it into the shoe right now in this moment, and it's tying everything up, getting everything ready. With how big the bag is that I'm using, it takes a moment. So right now I'm at this part, and I am basically taking a eraser and I'm just using it and put it in with the nail file, the fingernail polish remover, and I'm using it. It takes a little more of the paint off, which helps out with the adhering to the shoe a little bit more. So right now when I put the stencil on, I sit right there and went and used my gray shoe dye, leather shoe dye, and went over it at first and started to add it in. And what it does is it helps out with you having to use lesser paint, and it did a pretty good job. If you sit right there and put the dye on first, like 2 coats of the dye, it seems to get it up pretty good, and it seems to work as well. But sometimes there's bubbles that'll come up into it. But after you put their gray paint on it, or black paint, or whatever you're going to put on it with this gray, it'll help lower your amount of coats. So I got the light gray. I'm just sitting right there, shaking it up, getting it ready, and painting it on. I just sit right there and shot everything onto it, got it the way I wanted it to, and I'm gonna let it dry, sitting right there, using my heat gun for it, getting it to the point that I wanted it to, and we're just gonna go to the next one. I put another panel over the top of it, and then I'm going over it with the black Angelus paint mixed with a little bit of Jacquard. I think it strengthens the black paint just a little bit more, and it seems to help. That's the reason why I like to do that. Jacquard, it gives don't give as much flex as Angelus, so when I sit right there and mix them both together, I sit right there and I think it gives it more strength and residual. I can't even say the word right, excuse me. But anyway, it makes it stronger and it makes it easy to flex. So right here on this picture, I thought I had it right, but anyway, I'm just sitting right there taking and figuring out where I want to put the paint at. So I'm just putting little pieces of the paint on it and just testing out where I want it and seeing if I like it in these spots that I was putting in. So but anyway, that's what I'm doing so far. Right now in this part, I'm just sitting right there trying to keep all the red paint off the swish, and later on I go over and I'll paint it black, so it don't matter as much. But I wanted to not to get too much paint on the sewed in swish. I mean, it looks better when you can still see the thread count on it, so you do not want to mess it up all the time. Sometimes you have to because it's already too far gone, or you just plan it ahead and do it the way you want to. That's the way I went so far when I'm trying to sit right there and get the details done. I mean, it could be a little harsh. Then I'm using an angle brush. I'm going over those spots and trying to keep away from the areas that I don't want to hit and mess up as much as I can. I know sometimes it is easy to mess up and do this, and just sit right there and get better at it the more times you do it, and just go at it and keep putting the layers. With the red, I had to put like 4 layers of red paint on it. Right there, I'm trying to get the detail parts with the outside of the paint. I'm going to go over everything and get all the detail like I'm doing right here on this, and I'm trying to take care as much as I can not to hit the panels over the top. And like I said, I'm trying to keep the details as much as I can so I don't hit the panels over the top. Now I'm doing the swoosh in gray because elephants are gray, and then I did the middle panel in white, and right now I'm getting the Alabama symbol and I'm putting it on there. And I ain't got the Alabama part on it, but Ala, it was the biggest lettering that I could put on it. Well, no, wait a minute, maybe I'm off, but I do got Alabama on it. Yeah, I'm not reading it right, my bad. But anyway, I'm just sitting right there trying to put pressure down on it so the stencil will come up when I sit right there and pull it up, because sometimes having so many areas on the transfer paper that you're using, it don't want to come up all the time, and the stencil still wants to stick right where it was laid. So basically we're just sitting right there getting it ready, and we're going to go ahead and put it on the shoe, and we'll take it off and do all that stencil work that we need to for the strap on the shoe. Now I was also worried about when I put the stencil on it or taking it off afterwards. I was worried that I would have to do more detailed work afterwards, because sometimes these stencils will rip off the paint. But if you do the work correctly and keep trying to like make it more where you can adhere to your shoe more, that's why I try that with the eraser, the magic eraser, and it helps get a little more of the paint off and get down into where your shoe needs to, where it can actually help get the shoe closer to the part where the leather is not at, and it'll adhere a whole lot more to your shoe. And it's also not messing up the shoestrings, which I don't like as much. But sometimes we have to figure out how we want to do it, so we just go ahead and do it and get it done. You see what I mean? Alright, now I'm trying to get the stencil on, basically, and I was trying to figure out where I wanted the stencil at. So it took me a moment. I figured it out, and it did not want to come up right at first. So I was sitting right there trying to move it around. If I had to, I would put a little more tape on it to sit right there and synthesize certain areas that should have been there when it weren't. But anyway, it worked out. I got it done. I figured out how to do it, and so now I'm putting this on the back sides of the panel on the shoes, right there where your heel is, and I've done it on both sides. Put both A's on each side, and this one I sit right there and put it on there. I'm putting pressure on it to make sure that the stencil is staying on the shoe. The only problem is pulling up the transfer paper afterwards, and then sitting right there and making sure that the transfer paper, the stencil, stays when you sit right there and do that. So that's why I'm trying my little toothpick, whatever you want to call it. I can't think of the name right now, but I'm using it to sit right there and push down on the stencil while I go ahead and pull up. And then I'm sitting right there. Later on, it looks kind of weird, and so I just sit right there and take a heat gun and heat it up, and it helps it stick a whole lot better. And then after I got done with doing all of those, I started getting my paint. I mixed it up like I did before with Angels and Jacquard, and it works really good. It's a little bit better than sitting right there and adding too thin into it, because I feel like the too thin might mess it up a little bit. So I don't know, but anyway, it still works out really well. I feel like it strengthens up the paint a little bit more when you do it, and it gives it a good effect later on, and it makes it look perfect. So that's why I like to do it. So my A's turned out real good right after I take off the tape, as you can see right now. And well, you're fixing to see the A, and the A looks pretty good. So it feels like it's taking forever to do this, but it took even longer doing it yourself. So we're gonna sit right there, and I like the way that the red looks with the black. It seems to match in, and with the white and the gray combined with it, it looks good. And I'm just still peeling away at the tape and trying to keep from taking off the paint that I originally put on there, and it looks good. And I seen I got a little bit of a overdrawn from the thing. I guess I didn't press down on the tape hard enough to keep it from doing that. So just go back over it and add a little more paint and make sure it still looks as flat as it does, and it turned out good, and that's the way it did. So I'm taking off the tape up here on the Alabama symbols, and if you like this video, please hit me up a like. If you like seeing the shoe stuff like this, please hit me up a like or subscribe, and all those YouTube things we love to do. Now, I already got the Alabama on it. I'm taking my what do you call it? A teeth cleaner? I don't know, but it's for hobby people. And I'm just sitting right there trying to get the stencils off and making it look better later on. Some of it, as you can see, I'm sitting right there later on, and I touch it up, get rid of that stuff that actually went under the stencil a little bit. That it happens a little bit because some of the areas are being sent over to thread and they're not getting the full to the bottom of your leather, and it's alright. I mean, it's easy to touch up, it's easy to fix, so you don't have to worry about that much. So just still going and putting up still trying to get up the stencils, and I'm just sitting right there adding a matte finisher on the shoes at this point, and it's not saying that this is fully done, but this is just something to protect it for the moment, because later on I'll go over it and I'll hit it with a Krylon matte finisher. But anyway, after this point, I'm finally got this can of spray paint in that I wanted, and what I did was I taped up the top and I basically spray painted the bottom of the shoe, and it's kind of like a almost like a rubber white paint, just about. So when you put it on there, it's like putting rubber on the shoe. So I'm hoping that this would last. So since the dye that I put on the bottom didn't work as well as I thought it would, so I just went ahead and done that. I've been waiting for it to come in for a while, so and when it finally came in, I finally could finish the shoe. So this shoe took a lot more longer than I would have hoped it to. So it looks shiny when you take and put the Angelus matte finisher on it, but right now I'm shaking up the Krylon matte finisher, and you put a Krylon matte finisher then this together, it seems to work really well, and it gives it that crisp looking matte finish that you want to make it look like it came from the factory just about. And as you can see, with it drying up the way it is, it's already starting to look good. It's looking even more matte than it was before, and this is the way I like to do it now. It's not putting protection over protection, because your finisher is not going to sit right there and save your project no matter what you do. What it is going to do is it'll make it look less shinier. So this is the way the shoe looks now, and I appreciate it. Hit me up a like, subscribe, all those YouTube things, and I appreciate y'all for watching. Thank you.